And for those of you sticking around, thanks for joining us here on WLTX. I'm Chief Meteorologist Efren Afonte, and believe it or not, it has not stopped anywhere in South Carolina. This rainfall has been quite persistent. And I say rainfall because many areas right now in South Carolina are dealing with rainfall, even though radar indicated shows that some of us are dealing with either sleet or freezing rain, or in case up in the PD in Florence in the general area is dealing with maybe more so of sleet and even snow. Now here specifically in the Midlands, nothing really has changed over the last 2 hours, other than that some areas that didn't have any rainfall that was coming down steadily, like here at the station on the Garners Ferry, the rainfall is steady. Notice though, in the area of the station, in Columbia, it's indicating that it is freezing rain. Technically, it's rain, it's not freezing yet. However, all of the Midlands, the temperatures are right at or slightly below freezing, so between 30 and 32 degrees. So most of the Midlands, the precipitation is coming down in rain, and if you've been outside over the last hour, it's steady rainfall. It's not being blown around, and thank goodness we don't have any wind. Rain's coming straight down. A lot of the precipitation, though, is liquid, but if you have like handrails in front of your house or your apartment, you notice there are icicles hanging off of it. Anything that's elevated, like bridges and overpasses, are already starting to build up ice. Now, it's a good thing that SCDOT has been treating a lot of the interstates and bridges and overpasses because of that. But nevertheless, the precipitation is persistent, and there's nowhere in the Midlands where there isn't any rainfall or any precipitation coming. Now, there's a few areas for obvious reasons. Not everybody's getting rain, not everybody's getting sleet, but everybody is going to get something as we continue the next several hours. The winter storm warning still continues for Kershaw, Fairfield, Newberry, Saluda, Edgefield, Lexington, Aiken, and Richland counties until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Conditions in these counties are favorable that we either see 2 inches of snow, which is not going to be the case, or upwards of 1/4 of an inch of sleet, ice, or accumulated frozen rain. That's the criteria for it. The winter weather advisory for Lee, Sumter, Clarendon, Calhoun, and Orangeburg County, there is the possibility we could see, at least by criteria, less than 2 inches, which we're not going to see of snow, but we could see a trace to under 1/10 of an inch of accumulated ice, sleet, or freezing rain. That's for the advisory. The reality is I can honestly say at this point, with the precipitation that is steadily coming down in the Midlands, but particularly for most, if not all of Orangeburg, the southern half of Calhoun, and then the southern half, or the southern third rather, of Clarendon County, in particular when you get from, let's just say, just south of the Paxville Highway all the way to Lake Marion. Many of these areas, you're probably experiencing rain and not so much of freezing contact rain, but all of that precipitation at some point will end, and then the temperatures are going to drop, and because of that, we will probably see a thin layer of glaze, or maybe a little bit more than 1/100th or 2/100ths of an inch of ice building up. It's not that large of a criteria, but it's still going to be ice. That's why we have advisories and warnings for all of our Midland communities. What we're looking at the time frame as far as the precipitation, from now until at the latest 3 o'clock in the morning. Again, the rain and the freezing rain continues. And just for definition, freezing rain, it's simply just rain coming down, but once it makes contact to a surface, it freezes. Most of our roadways right now in the Midlands are not dealing with contact freezing of the rainfall. That is going to start occurring as we get into the late hours tonight, but certainly after midnight, as temperatures are expected to start dropping below freezing. And that will undoubtedly lead to slick and hazardous roadways. 3 areas of roadways that I'm concerned with. First and foremost, out in the rural areas. Lower Richland, I'll take you guys since I live there. Any areas that are a secondary road are not going to be treated. 2, these roadways are covered in 200-foot trees. even though we're going to have winds tonight, those trees are going to be a barrier for the winds to blow through. The winds blow over this ice and it starts to decay it a little bit and melt it a little bit as we get into the morning. Sunlight, 3. Those trees are not going to allow the angle of the sun rays to get right into any spots because of the height of the trees. And because of that, many areas that have very large trees, and obviously in our rural communities, those are going to be the last places that we'll start seeing melting, and the melting is not going to last that long. And then we're going to have it all refreeze again. So the hazardous roadways, not only for tonight going into tomorrow morning, but this could last into, in some areas, Sunday morning, and I'll show you what the temperatures we're expecting. But just to go around all of our communities, you could see from Fairfield to Kershaw, Lee, Sumter, Richland counties, there's precipitation coming down. I'm going to take a educated guess that areas probably from Mitford in Fairfield County all the way down to about maybe Ridgeway, and then cutting across from Lake Wateree to probably Elgin, and then all points straight across Bethune, and then north to Mount Pisgah, probably has more in the tune of freezing rain. By the time it hits the ground, it's already starting to freeze. Areas north of I-20, from Bishopville to say Thurston, Lucknow, you probably are dealing with a mix of freezing rain, sleet, or even some snowflakes. Everybody who's along and south of I-20, from Ashwood all the way down into Pinewood, everybody in Richland County, you're dealing with very likely rain that is freezing on elevated surfaces. So you go a little bit further out. In fact, let me go back. I went to the wrong direction. Now, talking about Newberry County, it's very likely that most of Newberry County right now is dealing with rain, even though it's showing freezing rain. But that's going to be one of the colder spots, and that means that a lot of the surfaces, grass and roads, will start to get a little bit icy over the next 2 or 3 hours. The same thing goes with Saluda. Now, a lot of the precipitation is still continuing. There's a lot more that's behind it that's moving through. But you go into the PD area, it's concentrated more of sleet and snow. So you go further down, you can see that there's still quite a bit of precipitation moving through Aiken and into western Orangeburg County that is likely on and off freezing rain. But Calhoun, very likely, especially how far it is from the radar, that's probably going to be in rain as opposed to freezing rain. You could just see the radar updated and we got more green. So I would say conservatively, all of Calhoun County and then Orangeburg County is just dealing with the rainfall right now. It's not cold enough yet for everything to start freezing in these locations, but it'll be soon to come. And then, of course, Clarendon County, if you go right along the Paxville Highway and then point southwest, that is very likely rain, but a little bit further to the north. I-95, Alkaloo, all the way up to Mount Zion, it may be transitioning over into freezing rain because look at these temperatures from this morning. A lot of you on the western side of the Midlands saw snow. A lot of you in Lexington County saw a big snowflake. And then you get into areas of Richland, Fairfield, and Calhoun County, you saw sleet or little itty bitty ice pellets. Temperatures are conducive for that. We got as low as 19 degrees in Camden. Our high temperature, though, right at 32 to 33 degrees. So if you did have snow to start off with, then you saw rain by lunchtime, and it's been on and off rain or freezing rain all throughout the afternoon and evening. We were in the freezing mark, and that was at 3 o'clock this afternoon. It is now 8 o'clock, and our temperatures are still right on the bubble, give or take about 32 degrees. That's the problem why we don't have a lot of snow or a lot of sleet or just rain. The impacts are still going to be primarily the central or the mid-Midlands along I-20, and then the higher probability of the slick roadways and the potential for power outages are going to be in the northern third of the Midlands. There'll still be an impact in the southern Midlands, but it won't be out to that extent. We are going to see all of this by 10, 11 o'clock start to change over to rain. A lot of warm air keeps on pushing out of the Atlantic and the Gulf. That rain will continue until we get about 2 or 3 o'clock, and then the rain shuts off. So we're not expecting rain, the precipitation to last that long. By the time we get to about an hour or two after sunrise, which will be about 7:19, We'll start seeing some sunshine to the west. And then by midday, everyone's going to have mostly sunny skies. So the precipitation is not going to last. But here's the problem. Once the precipitation is down, especially if it's rain or freezing rain on power lines, well, you get 1/10 of an inch, they start weighing it down, and we're going to be looking at power outages. The last report that we got statewide, and this would have been a report roughly 45 minutes ago, there was over 3,700 power outages in the state. I believe it was almost 800 in Newberry County alone, reported from Tri-County. So we're having the power outage issues. It is sparse for now, but it could be picking up because in the morning, mind you, all the precipitation is going to be done, but our morning temperatures before sunrise are going to be below freezing. And don't expect the temperatures to warm up anytime soon. So below freezing temperatures is very likely going to be anytime from midnight all the way as late as 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then in the afternoon, we'll have a lot of sunshine. At least temperatures will get into the mid to upper 40s, and the air will be noticeably drier. So that, along with the sunshine, will help melt a lot of the frozen stuff on the ground. But by the time we get into the morning on Sunday, we're looking at a low of 22. So we may have refreeze on anything that hasn't evaporated yet. And we're going to stay cold right through the entire week. I do not recall in the 10 years I've been here in the Midlands where we've had morning temperatures consistently in the mid-20s like this. This is a first for me. I've dealt it in other states, but this is the first in a decade of being here in the Midlands that I've seen morning temperatures now cresting on 11 days, if the holds true, by Friday at 25 degrees in the morning. The bottom line, as far as this winter precipitation and the event that we're going through right now, still a lot of rainfall in Georgia and in southeast Alabama. All this continues to push to the east. All this will end for us in the Midlands after 3 o'clock in the morning. But we still have to deal with the weather impacts of the potential power outages and the slick roadways. We'll have updates coming on later on as we go throughout the evening. But for now, I'm News 19 Chief Meteorologist Efren Afante. Stay warm and stay safe.